Hey everyone, and welcome to today's deep dive. You ever just find yourself driving home late at night and appreciating those street lights guiding your way?
Yeah, me too.
It's easy to take them for granted, but someone's got to keep those things glowing right. Behind every street light is a skilled street lighting electrician, making sure our world stays illuminated. And that's exactly who we're going to be talking about today. You've come to the right place with those career goals because we're about to break down this job for you.
Yeah, that's right. We're shining a light on a career that's way more than just connecting wires. You know what I mean? Think about it. Public safety, keeping traffic flowing, making the city feel welcoming even after dark.
I like it, eliminating our understanding. Okay, so let's unpack this. What's a typical day like for a street lighting electrician? Our sources paint a pretty vivid picture: rain or shine snow.
Mm.
You name it. You're the one up in that bucket truck battling the elements to keep the lights on.
And it's not just about fixing them when they go out either. These electricians are all about preventative maintenance too. Got to make sure every single fixture meets those strict safety regulations from OSHA. You know, electricity and safety got to go hand in
For
hand.
sure, for sure. This isn't your average 9 to 5 desk job. Got to be someone who's comfortable way up high, maybe in some wild weather.
Hmm.
But here's where things get really interesting, especially for those tech-minded folks out there. Forget what you think you know about electrical. This isn't your granddad's game anymore. We're talking cutting-edge LED tech, smart lighting systems that someone can control remotely, even sensors that adjust brightness based on traffic flow.
Oh, absolutely. And get this. Some cities are even putting gunshot detection technology right into those streetlights. Can you imagine? They can pinpoint the location of a gunshot and boom, instant alert to the authorities. Talk about potentially saving lives.
Whoa, seriously, had no idea about that. That's incredible. This field is definitely not stuck in the past, always evolving. Sounds like a career with a ton of potential for anyone who loves staying ahead of the curve. But let's get real for a sec. Is this the right path for you?
Ah, the million-dollar question. Luckily, our sources lay out some pretty clear pros and cons on the plus side. Job stability. Huge plus in this economy, right? And it's a field that's only going to keep growing as cities expand and tech keeps advancing.
Okay, so if you're someone who really values stability, knowing your skills are going to be in demand for years to come,
Mhm.
this checks that box for sure. What about the financial side of things?
Well, good pay is definitely another pro. I mean, with that job stability often comes a nice salary and benefits package, too. Of course, it all depends on what you're looking for salary-wise at this point in your career.
Right, makes sense. Our source also mentions the opportunity for advancement. You can start as an apprentice learning the ropes from those seasoned pros, and then work your way up to a more senior position eventually. Maybe crew supervisor or even project management, who knows?
Exactly. It's a path, you know. You could start just assisting, maybe replacing bulbs, cleaning fixtures, and then bam, you're installing and maintaining entire systems. It's like leveling up in a video game.
Uh-huh. I like that. Level up your career. But you're right, our sources keep it real too. They don't sugarcoat the challenges. This is physically demanding work, often outdoors, and let's be honest, sometimes in less than ideal condition.
Oh, for sure, you got to be ready to work. A certain level of physical fitness and resilience is key. Not gonna lie, this one's not for the faint of heart. But if you're the kind of person who loves hands-on work and you don't mind a little weather or a lot, maybe it could be a perfect fit.
It's a career that definitely requires both brains and brawn. So for those of you who love the outdoors, aren't afraid of a little hard work, and are excited about where technology is taking this field, stick around because we are just getting started. So we've established that being a street lighting electrician, it's not exactly a walk in the park. But what about those of you out there who are like, okay, this sounds kind of cool, but maybe starting a whole new career seems intimidating, especially something this specialized?
Totally get it. It's a common worry. But here's the good news. You don't necessarily need that 4-year degree to get your foot in the door. Our sources really emphasize apprenticeships and on-the-job training here.
So you could literally go in with zero experience and work your way up.
Absolutely. Picture this. You start as an apprentice, right? Learning the ropes directly from these seasoned electricians. You're not just fetching coffee, you're watching, asking questions, getting your hands dirty right alongside them. Then, as you gain that experience, build up your confidence boom, you start taking on more responsibility.
It's like learning a trade the old-fashioned way, mastering those skills through real-world experience.
Exactly. And as you progress, there are these key certifications that can really make a difference. Things like the electrician certification, which basically proves you know your stuff. Maybe down the line you get your electrical contractor license if you want to run your own show someday. And of course, gotta mention the OSHA safety certification. That's a big one.
Speaking of OSHA, our source actually mentions something super interesting about how they're using tech to improve safety training. Apparently, they're doing VR simulations now, like you're training in a virtual world, learning how to handle dangerous situations in a totally controlled environment.
Oh yeah, that's huge. It's like leveling up the training itself. Trainees can experience what it's actually like to, say, work on a high voltage line, all the sights and sounds, but without any of the real world risks. Pretty amazing how technology is transforming even the training side of this.
It really is.
Yeah.
But okay, let's say someone's ready to go for it. Start applying for these street lighting electrician jobs. What's that interview process actually like? What should they be prepared for?
Well, first and foremost, they need to know their stuff. Be ready for those technical questions about electrical systems, safety protocols, any experience you've got with the tools of the trade. But you know what can really give you an edge? A tool like RoleCatcher.
Ah, yes. RoleCatcher. We touched on it earlier, but it's worth diving a little deeper. Just to refresh everyone's memory, RoleCatcher offers this AI-powered interview prep, and it's specifically designed for the street lighting electrician field, right?
Yeah.
Like over 120,000 practice questions, and we're not talking generic stuff here.
Nope, these are tailored questions. It's like having a sneak peek into the minds of those hiring managers. But here's the really cool part. You can actually record yourself answering these practice questions, and RoleCatcher's AI will analyze everything, your content, your delivery, even things like body language.
It's like having a personal coach in your pocket.
Exactly. That kind of targeted practice, it makes a world of difference. Instant confidence booster and helps you stand out from the crowd.
So let's say you nail that interview, land the job, officially a street lighting electrician. What's the trajectory look like long term? Is it just years and years of the same thing, or is there room to grow, try different things within the field?
That's where things get really exciting. Our sources point to a bunch of different paths for advancement. You might start as an entry-level technician, right? Focusing on those routine maintenance tasks and repairs.
And then, as you get more experience under your belt, you could specialize, right? Like maybe dive deeper into those high-tech smart lighting systems we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Or you could go the supervisory route. Oversee a team of technicians, manage bigger projects, maybe even get involved in the design and planning of brand new lighting installations. And hey, there's always the entrepreneurial route too. Some electricians decide to go out on their own, start their own contracting business.
So it's not just a job, it's a career with real potential for growth and branching out, finding your niche.
Absolutely. It's all about what you make it, right?
Wow. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the ins and outs of electrical work to the future of street lighting with all that high-tech stuff. But before we wrap up, I did want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the entrepreneurial side of this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not something I would have thought of, but it makes total sense when you lay it out like that.
Yeah, it's a natural progression for a lot of these electricians, you know. They've put in the years honing their skills, building those relationships with suppliers, and they really understand how this industry works inside and out. Starting their own business, it gives them that freedom, right? To be their own boss, set their own hours, and really focus on those projects they're most passionate about.
I love that. It's like they're not just lighting up the streets, they're lighting up their own career paths.
Yeah.
Got to be a lot of challenges that come with that, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. Running your own business is no joke. But for the right person, someone who's driven and determined, it can be incredibly rewarding. Honestly, though, that entrepreneurial spirit, it kind of runs through the whole field, whether someone owns their own business or not. There's a real sense of ownership in the work itself, a lot of pride.
Yeah, you can really see that. After all, they're not just installing lights, they're making their communities safer,
Yeah.
Contributing to the well-being of everyone around them.
100%. And I think that's something people forget sometimes. We just take those street lights for granted, but they make such a difference, right? Safer streets, smoother commutes. Our cities even look and feel more vibrant after dark. And behind every single one is a skilled electrician who made it happen.
Such a good point. A good reminder to look around and appreciate the people who keep things running, even when we don't realize it. Speaking of which, any final thoughts for our listeners before we sign off today?
Well, next time you're walking down the street at night and you see a street light, take a second to really look at it. Think about all those wires and circuits, the sensors, everything that goes into making that light shine. And hey, if you find yourself even a little bit curious about this kind of work, don't ignore it. Do some research, see what's out there. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one lighting up our world in the future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive. We hope you learned something new today and maybe even feel inspired to see streetlights and the amazing people who keep them shining in a whole new light.
Until next time, stay curious, everybody.